Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat and today is Sunday, August 23rd, 2020. If you are watching the VODs on YouTube, please be sure to do all of the engagement and social stuff below the video. If you are so inclined, I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/Otaku Showboat, so head on over there to leave a follow to be notified when I go live if you already haven't done so. If you already haven't done so, if you haven't already done so, that's how I should say that. You can also support Planendon's mods development at patreon.com/Planendon and myself at patreon.com/Otaku Showboat. So, few things. My PC is updated to the most recent major Windows 10 update. I was finally able to do that. I noticed the other day, so we are now on 2040. I think is no, not 2040, 2004. That's the one. That's the number assigned to this update from the May 2020 update. Yes, May. It's now August, and this whole time my computer has not been allowed to do that update. It was not allowed. It was not on the Windows Update pane. It said that it was there, that it existed, but that I just couldn't download it yet. Anyway, I now have it. I has it, and the actual Windows operating system, at least at the start, was a little bit more snappy. Just I guess from refreshing everything over that period of time. But anyway, that screwed up a little bit of stuff with my audio settings. Not really the settings, but what devices were the defaults and such. So hopefully everything will be okay going into today. Oh boy. So going into today, there's quite a few things to talk about that I have done off screen, as well as a couple of notes, shall we say. So on this past week on YouTube, I posted the tutorial update for raw coal. And as it turns out, the raw coal on GitHub has now been updated a bit more. So it's going to be different, as in green science for raw coal is going to get nerfed. Stuff that was in utility science is being pushed to blue science, and there's going to be some extra termination at blue, so the chemical science phase is going to have a good increase overall to the amount of coal you can produce out of raw coal. It's going to end up being a smoothing out of the output curve, as well as making green science a little bit less of a gain. Considering, yes, at green science, the ore in to coal out is actually a bit high by comparison to other green science processes. Uh, Generally speaking, it caps at 1-to-1 at green science of ore in to quote unquote plates out. So it being like 25 or something coal out for 15 raw coal in was a bit much, and it seems it was decreased by about 12%, so that sounds about right. Yeah. Sounds about right to me. So, the base. The base. You might notice a few things with the base. Here. The first being, it's a little bigger. It's grown slightly, as in it's grown to all of these completed squares. All these completed blocks exist now, and these blocks in here actually exist now. So I've gone and just north and south expanded a little bit, and this rail now exists. This rail now exists, splitting what was going to be a very huge mall area into what'll end up being like 4 bigger 2x2 blocks. 2x2 blocks. That's generally speaking going to be my plan for this middle quote-unquote area of the base, this planned central location that everything else will be radiating around. At least that's the plan, that everything's going to radiate around a central larger area that'll include the mall. Yeah, so what else changed? I have added back the logistic zone to all of the rails, I added it back to be a little bit more consistent across the entirety of the rail network in terms of the placements of all of the Pybo ports, the Pi Robo ports, and I hear kittens behind me. Yeah. So why did I add all this back? I'm lazy. I guess that's the ultimate reason why I ended up adding the logistic network back into here. I'm just a bit lazy. I wanted my robots to build the rail network. It's bad enough that I have to manually go out to place all of the landfill to begin with. I just did not want to keep expanding the rails myself on top of that as well. So that is, as they say, that on that side of things. I will continue to expand this set of 4, finish this set of 4 before going out and then expanding off to the right, because that's the next order of business, is getting expansion to the right and get all of these blocks sorted out. But that's going to be a lot of landfill. That's going to be a lot of landfill to fill all of this over here. So wish me luck on that. I am going to need luck on that. And speaking of which, hello. And goodbye. That was briefly an Ollie. Hi. That was very briefly an Ollie coming to say hello, jumping on the back of my chair. Just the streak of darkness. Like, yeah, hello, Ollie. Okay. What else? I've done a fair amount. So I guess what we left off with last time was that I had been working on primers. We stopped in the middle of it. I said I wasn't going to continue working directly on the primers. I did not continue working directly on the primers, so we will be basically continuing where we left off with those. Now, the Kickalk finally has kicked it up on its production, so I now have a few extra Kickalk. Enough Kickalk so that I was able to actually expand to another 100. Hello? What have you brought me? What have you brought me? Oh, I see. So he got into the trash can and brought a brought his treat container. Yeah. So this is the treat thing, of which of course the bag that held the treat is in and of itself a toy. Because of course it's a toy. Hey, have your toy. He's trying to tell me something. Yes, that he's hungry, but no, he's playing with it. I'm pretty sure I threw that in the trash can. I do hope the trash can is not tipped over on the floor at the very least. So he's been jumping on top of the trash can lately and pulling things out of it to use as toys. This includes things like avocado peels, etc. How much time? Little. A little. A little. Most of this has been on time. Was on times 5 game speed. Like first 400 or 500 hours was like at times 5 game speed, and then as we have progressively accrued more and more entities, etc., the frame rate's gone lower and lower. So yeah, we're supposed to be on 150, but we're on times 1. Hello, Dolly. Dolly, want to say hi? No, you're running away. Dolly's running away now. He was at my feet. All right. So the fiber's pretty much set to go now. That's the main thing here with this kickoff fiber. It is all set. I'm getting inputs from both sides now. I have only this one side outputting into a chest, half of its output, while the other side is just directly going into the glorious little station there. I have an input slot without a station. It's just there in case I need it at some point, and I have the one train full of kickalk. So that's all ready to go for us for there. What else have I done? Yeah, this is a thing. Just a few solar panels. I may or may not have killed my base for power due to the little logistic switchover. Yeah, that switchover, adding back in the logistic networks. I had this bright idea of removing a whole bunch of existing medium power poles that were along these lines. And as it turns out, a few of them were providing power to some very important things. To some very, very important things across the base. Let's just say that ended up with me not having any power whatsoever. And I have just picked up Chromium Processing 3. Oh boy, so that gives me, in particular, access to the Molten Chromium recipe out of chromite sand, which is just a direct upgrade to my chromium output, even without going anywhere near Pulp 7. So that's, like, the most important, I would say, of all this blue science stuff to do for Vat Brain blue science. Most of it's not all that important. This one has the most immediate effect, because you can immediately switch to doing molten chromium casting from your grade 4 chromium setup. What uses the most chrome? Nichrome. Nichrome, of which there is also a molten nichrome recipe that is, I think, in nickel processing, so that'll be the next one. Nichrome uses the most chromium overall, just in the form of nichrome. But also, chromium gets used in the abiotic ammonia recipe. So that's another just straight up chromium plate expenditure. There's also tin chromium alloy expenditure for various petroleum handling stuff, high petroleum handling stuffs. So yeah, it gets used plenty in this phase of the game, but earlier it wasn't really used at all. Now over here, benzene. I have a few destructive distillation columns, aka 100 destructive distillation columns, and like 27 fluid separators, converting tailings from here, like from 4 of these setups, so 12, 16 of these quenching towers, effectively. They're converting tailings into, 1,000 units of benzene per second. What does that ultimately equate to? 1,000 megajoules per second, or a gigawatt. of power if you can tap into it. So all of this stuff is oil burners. Oil burners and steam engines. All of the things. Not actually enough to provide a gigawatt. Just gonna throw out there. This is about 500 and 20. It is 520. It would take like 540 something to actually tap into the full gigawatt of that benzene. So, a little bit of a different power source. As you can see, it's a lot of space, but also consider that to get a gigawatt would take 3 of this syngas hydrogen power anyway. Like, a gigawatt, I think, is at least 3 of these, or more. Actually, now that I think about it, it's like 5. These don't actually give too much net power. It, like, theoretically, it's like 300 each, but that it's not actually. Not actually even remotely that much. Just because I think I need to add more tar in for them. I've experienced some problems. As the kittens continue to play behind me, you might hear their bells around their necks. Speaking of the kittens, they did have a vet visit last week, and they are just fine. Mostly. Mostly. They are better on their ears, so they don't have any ear problems. Hello and goodbye. Their ears are fine now, so no more medicine for their ears. Ollie was having a little thing with one of his eyes, so he got some eye drops to do twice a day for this week. Otherwise, he's fine, and his eyes already a bit better. He was tearing down one of his eyes. Hello. He's still playing with that little treat package. So outside of that, Ollie is overweight as well. So we're just told to change how we feed them. Normally they would get a bit of wet food 3 times a day. Now they're supposed to only get the wet food twice a day, and we're supposed to get like a kibble feeder toy thing of some description to give them access to at lunchtime, or at least to get Ollie access to at lunchtime to make him work for an afternoon meal. I guess we'll see what happens on that front, but I doubt it. He's over 6 pounds now. To Dolly, who's under 5. She's normal weight. He's overweight. For their age, they are 5 months and like a week. So yeah, they are growing, but Ollie's growing a bit too much. Otherwise, Dolly just fine. No, don't have to do anything with her. She's good to go. We got their flea medication for this next month. That's already been applied now, so that's fine. And yeah, they don't have to go back for 6 months. They don't have to actually go in to be examined again for 6 more months, which is great, considering how much money my mother's spent over these past 4 vet visits. It was a lot. It was a lot. A lot. Continuing with my discussions of what I have done off screen, that actually covers the vast majority of it. I'm trying to remember any major changes. Yes. Major changes. So in here, this is wood and coal. wood and coal in here. I was giving things a good think after looking at the Factorismo buildings that were in here making wood and making coal, and I saw that the buildings making coal, there was like the one coal on the end, which was doing grain science raw coal processing from raw coal from seaweed, had like 13 plus other Mark II Factorismo buildings of just seaweed. Like, why? And then the wood was like 4 buildings total. 4 factories total for its 15 out. It's like, huh, there's a big difference in the amount of space this is using. Um, Granted, uh, the raw coal processing from seaweed uses a lot less power, and it's a lot simpler of a process overall because it's just seaweed in and then basic grain science raw coal processing at the very end. It uses way less power than converting wood to coal, which you can do at a 1-to-1 ratio. But I figured you need both anyway. I was able to actually fit this, and this is using more space than is necessary because I don't need 2 of these tar setups for this. I only really need 1 of these tar setups for this, I think. Pretty sure. So this is ultimately making 30 wood per second, of which 15 is being used to make coal from wood at a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's 15 coal and 15 wood going in and supplying the base, and I was able to completely remove all of those factories from factories. So that's just part of my overall mission to completely eliminate every single one of my factories to eventually disable the mod entirely from this save and restore a bunch of game performance by doing that. Right now, I still have a lot of losses due to the way in which I've designed the iron thus far. You can see here I'm not using chests in any of these 4 here. And I'm not doing that with the... So I may have converted the copper already. It looks like I've converted the copper already, but I've definitely not done so with the iron. But either way, I'm going to need to pull out all of the stuff that's in the iron and in the copper processing setups into the map. So I'm thinking of using this space over here now. It used to be what I wanted to use for the mall, but I'll use this to expand out what's in all of these factories to make iron plates through the unslimed iron processing process. And ideally, I'll have space to do the stainless steel and maybe even the super steel at some point. We shall see about that one. And maybe I'll have space for copper as well, just replace all of these solar panels that I had put down as an emergency situation. Similarly, with glass, you can see all of this infrastructure here on the glass that I have placed. Would you be surprised if I told you that all of this infrastructure exists in one of these Mark II factories? So I had 4 of these Mark II factories up here. Just these. Just 4 of these. And yeah, in each of these is this infrastructure. All of this, and I can't fit another one of these in a single unit. As it is, I would need to like completely rearrange everything to fit more. Yeah, and this makes, 50 glass per second. It's like 25 each. So, yeah, about that. In total, it's 200 molten glass per second from having these 3 as well operational. But yeah, that's real bad. That's real bad for the space. So as it turns out, I have picked up additional tech. I can now go all the way up to purified quartz based molten, and that's going to be my plan. Is that I am going to design and build up a purified quartz based molten glass setup and effectively replace what I have for the glass with that. And that'll remove all of these factories, all of those factories that exist there. I don't know ultimately what I'm going to do with this actual block once everything gets replaced, because I'm going to replace them elsewhere. Hello! Welcome! I'm just covering some of my plans as I go forward, as I also discuss some of the things that I did off screen here. I also need to think about what I'm going to do with the latex build. This, of course, also needs to get out of these factories. Similarly with the tin and aluminium, they need to get out of these factories. But these are lower on the priority list because I have already updated these factories to use the bulk pipes and chests, which have lower penalties to the UPS than the factories like here, like these factories that are not using the chests for bulk transfers. So let's keep all of that in mind. The ones that are not using the chests for bulk transfers are the ones that have the highest priority to replace or fix and all of that. Oh boy, and I also have to do that with the lead and chromium at some point, but these do use chests. I did update them to the chests, so they are just fine. Alright, does that cover everything? I think it covers enough. I think it covers enough. I now have a whole bunch of blue science texts, so just yeah, I now have a bunch of blue science texts, and a few green science texts that were locked behind a blue science through advanced electronics, I think, or fine electronics, or something. I think it's advanced electronics that some stuff got locked behind. But I now got into robotics, which reminds me, I did pick up logistic robotics, where, if I can find that somewhere, I did pick up the Logibots. Yes, here. Logistic robotics. I finally figured out something. So, I think the reason why, up to this point, the logistic requests reset on the character when mods updated. We had already determined that it has to do with the reset tech effects on the update migration code in the Pi suite in particular, and probably some other mods have that too. So anytime a mod would update, there would be this code that would run that would reset tech effects, and it would completely delete every single one of the logistic requests. That did not happen today after I had picked up logistic robotics when I updated the game. When I updated, in particular, a couple of mods, one of which is the stacking mod, the Deadlocks stacking for Pyanodons, which finally has had its release to change where the low-grade rejects in the copper chain are unlocked in stacking. They were at blue science, now they're at green. So instead of stacking 3, it's stacking level 2 where they belong, because that's when you actually get those low-grade rejects. But anyway, that's beside the point. Picking up this tech, because this tech also unlocks character logistic requests. You've had character logistic requests since, like, way back down the tech tree at Green Science, somewhere at Green Science. I don't think it's actually in this direct line, but in the, like, electronics tech or something at Green. I always forget this. I always forget this. Was it... Where is it? Cargo, Pinobots. Actually, it's construction Pinobots, not cargo. Yeah, because those unlock at basic electronics, but I want to see... What is that tech? Construction. Robotics. That was just Ghost rebuild time. So why did I even have access? Oh, that's standard robots. Where's... Yeah, there's PyBots. Why did I even have construct, like, logistic requests before now? I don't know. I don't know, because logistic robotics is supposed to be what unlocks logistic requests. But something granted logistic requests before this tech, and that's ultimately what I think was causing that resetting of the logistic requests anytime there was an update and reset tech effects was called. But now that I have this, it's not resetting the logistics. As far as I can tell, I can test this by running reset tech effects and see that, oh hey, I still have my logistics. So it looks like that's just a problem until you actually pick up that blue science tech for logistic robotics. Like, what? What? Why? Why is that a thing? So I guess the last thing to talk about, I am rearranging my mall. I am in the process of rearranging things in the mall. Going to be basically deleting this entire chunk of stuff in here, adding in this missing rail line that needs to actually be there. I'm going to add this rail line up here too, just this whole thing that's noticeably missing. That's going to get added back in. I hopefully have enough space in here. Hello? I just hear them around me. So hopefully this is going to be enough buildings. I've got how many assembling machines in here? Like 937. I do hope that's enough to cover the buildings. I do hope that's enough to cover the buildings. And they are sort of arranged in a way to provide space for the Mark 1 through 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 on this set of stuffs. And then I can do like another set of 1, 2, 3, 4 if I need to above. So this should be 8 tall. Yeah. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't have a Mark 1 through 4 and other logistic type things. Probably gonna have a set of the bigger automated factories up top, just to cover some of the stuff that uses the fluid inputs, etc., etc. Otherwise, I'm just trying to start moving things out of the way of this path, because this path is the exact width I need for the rails as they go up. On this entire line, I will need to get rid of these up here, but that's for another day. Alright, we've spent more than enough time talking about stuff that I have done off-screen. So today we are going to be finishing off the primer build. So let's go in and have a look at that primer build, do the pin here, and I can re-familiarize myself with where we left off. We left off with needing to do the agar into petri dishes, as well as needing to bring in the molten glass to make the incubated petri dishes. So I need to grab this infrastructure in here. Looks like I also need the biofactory as well. Oh yeah, I also have like some extra inventory spaces. I have 15 more inventory spaces than I did before. That last one that I have available right now for the inventory upgrade, uh, it's a few. It's a few science packs. It's a few. Um, so I'm waiting on that a little bit to do that last 5 that I have access to through the power of the quality of life research mod. Yeah, that's gonna be waiting for a little bit. Alright, I need those guys. I need those, and I should have the rest on me. I should have plenty. Now Dolly's batting around a bottle cap. That's been Dolly's favorite toy lately. It's just small, clear / frosted bottle caps. Just little small bottle caps. She gets entranced batting them around and just spends tons of time. Basically until she is tired, collapses. Speaking of which, when we took them to their vet appointment this past week, the veterinary assistant who brought them back out at the end made a very interesting comment about how well behaved they were during their appointment. They were so relaxed and calm and fine during the whole course of the appointment. And I was just thinking in the back of my head, like, of course they were nice and calm during the appointment. Because I took a laser light and I ran them until they stopped moving before we went to the appointment. Like, of course they're well behaved. They're tired. I made them that way. I purposefully took the laser light and made them chase it until they basically collapsed from from needing to breathe until they just stopped chasing it. Yeah, chase it until they stop chasing it. And that's how that went. So in case you were ever wondering how to make a pet of any description behave a little better during the course of a vet visit, tire them out, run them around, have them play before putting them in the cage. It makes it easier to actually get them in the cage. Why am I doing all this? I don't know. Makes them easier to actually get them in their carrier in the first place if they're all tired out after playing. And it's easier to handle them at the vet's office. Makes them a little bit more, or shall we say, a little bit less aggressive to the handling. So that was just this interesting comment. Like, yeah, gee, I wonder why. Couldn't possibly have been something that we did beforehand and not their actual character, not a reflection of their actual character. It's like, oh, they're so nice, huh? They're so nice. I have a mark on my arm to prove they're not as nice as, like, I don't know how well it'll show up, but you can probably see that streak of red on my arm. That's healing. Yeah, they're so nice. Actually, that particular streak was Ollie not having the best of times. He attempted to go from my desk next to me onto my lap. I say attempted because he didn't quite see where the edge of the desk was. Because I have this towel over the desk. I don't know. He tends to have issues knowing where the edge of the desk is. So as he went to crawl from the desk to my lap, he used my arm partially as a stepping stone. So he put the front paws on my arm, but his back paws slid off the desk and he ended up falling to the floor and getting the claw in my arm in the process. And trying to use his claws to catch himself as he fell off the side of my desk, and that was ouchies. That was ouchies. Very, very much ouchies. It is not the first time he has fallen off the desk. Just gonna throw that concept out there. This is gonna be our molten glass at primers. Ah, yes, so, Train Supply Manager was updated. It now has this... I think this is a debug message that shouldn't exist here. It says what the new name is and what the old name was. But as you can see, it did not fix a dang thing in regards to the actual train request issue that I've been having. Like, I was expecting it to actually fix the train request BS that was going on. It doesn't. It just simply does not fix it at all, which is very, incredibly disappointing. That it's so sad. So sad that it doesn't actually fix what I was anticipating it to actually fix. Because in the patch note for TSM, it says that it fixed an issue regarding placement of requester stations that have an existing name. Like, oh, surely that's the issue that I've been experiencing up to now, right? Apparently not. Apparently not. It's still broken. It's still borked. Do I need any other actual inputs here, or can I just, like, remove this? Yes, I need the lab instruments. Right. Our lab instruments at primers. Let's see if that... Nope. Borked. Still borked. Just cut and paste, and there we go. Well, we now have the molten nichrome recipe. What should I take next? Hello. There's Ollie. He apparently stole the bottle cap. He brought the bottle cap with him up next to me. They like to do that, by the way. Go, kittens, fight over the bottle cap. They literally fight over the bottle cap. They like to bring their toys up onto the desk next to me and like show me their toys all the time as they play with their toys. They'll sit there next to me, just start laying down and just biting and playing with their toys. Like, really? And they bring it to me, it's like fetch. It's like I grab it and I toss it and off they go. And they keep playing over time. Alright, what do I really want? Molten-based alloys sounds like a wonderful idea. As does better silver. Eventually, I'm not actually going to do this. Hello. You got the cap. He's got the cap. There. You dropped it. Ow! Of course. Hey. Go. Ow. Ow, he got my ring finger. Ugh, dang it. Oh, that happens. Ugh. Ugh. Anyway. It would be nice to have the silver, molten silver process, but do I realistically see myself doing this anytime even remotely soon? No, because it requires filtration media, and filtration media requires zinc, and I'm not there yet. I am not even close to zinc. Same problem with going into the iron stage 3. That also needs filtration media, which is activated carbon, which is zinc, which I don't have right now. Uh, and I don't really see the need to do the molten casting on the small parts. That doesn't sound like a reasonable idea at all, actually. Like, why would I do that? Because if you're going to do hot air, you need to compare the hot air casting of the plates to the output of this. I think it's a little bit higher, but yeah. And under normal circumstances, by the way, under normal circumstances, without my pi productivity mod or productive pinodons, whatever I called it, without that mod, small parts in all of their variants do not accept productivity modules. So yeah, about that. So I think under normal circumstances, this would be a higher output, especially when you consider that you cannot do productivity by default on small parts. That's one of those. That's one of those things I tend to take for granted. It's like, oh yeah, I'm using my productivity mod, which allows productivity on things that should logically accept productivity. In particular, small parts, advanced small parts, special small parts, among several other things. I need to actually add to that list at some point and update for alien life. Because there's some things in Pi Alien Life that should absolutely take productivity, like the bedding and the cages, the actual production of the cages, few other things. Few other things. Primers, alien samples of all descriptions, etc. Let's see. I think I don't really care about any of these other processes. I'm just having a look at the alloys, I guess, at this point. So, tin chromium or titanium niobium. I'm gonna say tin chromium on the molten, because I actually have molten tin. I can now get molten chromium. I do not have access to molten titanium until I get MIBC, which, yeah, can be a bit of a problem. Alright, I need lab instruments here. That's equipment chassis, that's not lab instruments. There's lab instruments. Bring me my lab instruments! And there's my molten glass. Alright, I need a couple of glassworks, and I need the fuel for the glassworks. I should have made enough benzene to cover the fuel for the glassworks. Do I see myself expanding this? Not really. Place those down. You are making those doohickeys. Oh yes. Hot air. Right. Hello, hot air. I should have that. Hmm. Ah, yes, that's the other thing I need to note. I have multi-purpose pipes now. That's the other important, really important key thing that I needed to note that I hadn't noted yet. I have multi-purpose pipes now. They are simply made out of niobium plate, rubber, and plastic. Yay! Hey, guess why we did plastic? Yeah, I'll give you a guess as to why I did the plastic the other day. It's because I needed plastic for stuffs. So multi-purpose pipes. The pipe to grounds have a larger pipe to ground distance than the niobium pipes. These have 48 tiles on its length, as opposed to 30 something on the niobium pipes. I don't remember off the top of my head. So it's a pretty big boost on the pipe to grounds. But also, both the normal pipes and the pipe to grounds have a hidden property, shall we say. A completely hidden property, which is that they are completely immune to impact damage. Completely immune. You cannot destroy these pipes through impacts. Now, you can shoot them and damage them. They will take damage from spitters, but they won't actually take damage from impacts, which I think applies to the standard biter melee attacks. That might apply there, because it definitely applies to impacts. If you could put these in the path of a train, it also would stop the train. But considering you can't build pipe over tracks, that's an impossibility. But if you could put them in the way of a train, it would stop the train. Because, again, immune to impact damage. So all of that being said, let's see here. Where is that benzene going here? Alright, that means I should actually have you a little bit lower. Benzene is a fantastic fuel to use on the glassworks buildings. Just to throw that concept out there. That is one tile. Why? Why you need to be one tile? One tile off from where I want you to be. There. Have hot air. Yay. And fuel. Why is benzene such a good fuel? Benzene is such a good fuel because it has a fuel value of 1 megajoule, which means that each of these glassworks buildings, if they were operating at 100% capacity, would need precisely 10 units. 10 units of benzene per second to operate. They only need 10 megawatts of consumption, which means 10 units of benzene, which, yeah. That's 20 units of coal water slurry fuel, which is, just a few units of tailings. It's not all that bad. Overall, grand scheme of things. So that's technically that. I need to add the molten glass. Probably just gonna do that. And down we go. Molten glass time. Ah. That did not quite. Alright, good. That doesn't actually attach here. This is very, very tall, these buildings. And there we go. That, as they say, is that. Now to output. There's those. Hey, it's working. It's consuming 10. 10 per second of the benzene. As anticipated. Okay. Agar. I need... Where are they? Where are you? These. I need 8. 8. Wow. Okay. And where's the output on the seaweed? Because that makes this a little bit easier if I put this actually at the spot that has the seaweed. And then 8 of them. From, I don't know, here? No. Come on, autosave. 8. I'm actually gonna do this way, have the input that side, output that side. Agar. Glorious and beautiful. I need to actually move these again! There we go. The only downside about the multipurpose pipes is that they're ugly. That's the only downside about them. By comparison to the regular niobium pipes, these are incredibly ugly. But hey, we'll manage. They are nondescript boxes. That's what these end up being most of the time. Just boxes. Technically, like vents. They have like a little, I guess, fan blowing stuff from above. I don't know ultimately. It's like some grated lines on a circular thing inside that I guess is supposed to be some sort of a fan. But yeah. I've not liked these from the very beginning. Did manage to get the arrow at least put on these so we could actually see some means of what direction the output slash input side is facing, where the actual right angle connection is. So at least we got that going. But yeah, my issue is this right here. This is the intersection. The intersection pipe is essentially identical to the pipe to ground, so it can be really hard. It's really hard to tell the difference between what is an intersection and what is a pipe to ground. So say I have something a little bit like that. A little bit like that, that's scaled across. What is what? You can sort of tell now because of the arrows, right? Because the ones that are the intersections are the ones that don't have arrows. So that's an intersection, that's an intersection, that's an intersection, that's an intersection. But if you're just like staring at this like at a glance, what's what here? Right? Like what's what here? That's my point in regards to these. It's like it can get confusing fast in complex pipe setups. And then what if you made a mistake? What if you made a mistake and that right there was a pipe to ground rather than a regular pipe? How are you going to tell in this mess that this is a pipe to ground rather than an actual pipe? So there's an actual pipe, pipe to ground, needs to be an actual pipe, pipe to ground, pipe, pipe, pipe to ground, pipe to ground, pipe to ground, pipe. That is a pipe spot. How are you supposed to tell the difference? You can't. In this scenario, there's nothing. There is nothing to show you or tell you that that is a pipe to ground versus a pipe. And that is the biggest frustration. Actually, I didn't even need to move those. Because, you know, spacing. There we go. Agar! Agar is moving. Yay. Yay for Agar. I'm going to be combining that together. Oh yeah, of course. Of course I have the chest full of mushrooms. For use later, shall we say. For use in other mushroom farms. That'll be my primary supply of the stuffs. Okay, continuing along. That's the agar. I need 3 standard advanced foundries. I'll go ahead and put them over here. A little bit further to the side. Pretty sure I can get away with that. This is going to be making petri dishes. That's going to go to the end point. That's not needed until the very, very end, those 2 things. Must add power. Where's the nearest doohickey? There. And then 15 microorganism mines. Huzzah. Probably actually 16. I don't think 15 is going to fit straight across like that. $12. Of course it's not going to fit 15. 11, 10, 9, 8. So if I'm going to do this way, it's going to be like that. Off we go. To the left. There'll be an input here. And here. Now, one of my frustrations with these buildings is that they are so large. It's like, do I really want to deal with all of the power poles associated with them, or do I just do loaders? And I think I'm just going to do loaders and splitters for this. Just because it's pain to deal with all of the power poles. I would rather have one line of power poles in the middle that's providing the power to the buildings. Now, I'm putting these on these specific locations just because I can actually see them from those locations. Like, I can actually see the loaders going in. Let's see, split there, I guess. Not there, there. Same thing with the placement on these. Then get a power line down and we'll be good to go. Yay! Incubated petri dishes. Alright, that just leaves the one whole biofactory that this all feeds. The one and only biofactory that all of this will feed. Yeah, sure, we'll do it. We'll do it here. Making a 70% chance of a primer with each cycle. The glorious 70% chance of one primer with each cycle. This will need a thingy in from down here as well. I usually can't get away with that because if this were a unloader or a loader, this spacing wouldn't be exact. But I'm not, so I have that spacing. I need the molten glass for this. So that works out just fine. Now down here it does not work out quite as fine. If I really wanted to get the full output into this loader, this will only accept one lane. Ooh, that's actually rather important. Hold up. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad I was standing exactly here and not here. Oh, right. Yeah, that's important. Hey. Let's not have all the trains on the planet. Let's not have all of the trains ever coming this way. There we go. Up we go. All that's left is to hook up the phytoplankton. Which, let me think about the pipe routing. Can't really go straight down because it's this line, so it looks like I'll have to go over at least a bit. May as well go as much as I can. Cause yeah, that gets blocked by the water well down there. Oh. Oh. Had to make sure I wasn't off, like, on the molten glass, which is right next door. There's that, and now the primers. Oh joy. The primers are complete, and just for reference, they have a stack size of 200 per stack. Let me get my train going here. Okay, so this is making a 0.05 units per second, so, you know, of course we're going to be down at 1, but yeah, we're gonna tell this train that it's gonna be okay. But actually, you are S primers 1. Yep, you're gonna go primer S into D, and you're gonna go item count, circuit condition. When your primers, I need to actually set that to a greater than something. Greater than 50, I guess, on primers. This page, scroll. Primers are there. Greater than or equal to. So once there's 50 total, it will go to the depot. Now, how long will it take to accrue 50? God, 16 minutes just to get 50. Wow. Close, like 16 and 2/3 minutes just to get 50 at 0.05 per second. Yeah, 25. Let's go with that. It'll take like 8 minutes to accrue that many. Dolly, come back. I want to show you to people. They are interested in the window for some reason right now. Is that math actually correct? Did I actually do that right? Hello, morning, good morning, slash soon to be afternoon. I have just finished the primers setup. Huzzah and all of that. It is now time to consider the moving on part of this into microfiber. That's the other main thing I wanted to get done today, was going into microfiber. But a lot of this time is not actually going to be on microfiber, because a lot of this time is going to be on sodium hydroxide. Oh boy, and did I trap my car? I may have sorta trapped my car among all this building that I did. My crawdad. Let's get out of there. And I'm realizing I'm going to need a lot of standard chemical plants for this, as well as like lots and lots of salt. So let me give this a slight think and a check in the mall to see how many chem plants I have. How many chemical plants do I have again? I don't know. We're probably not going to be building this out at a massive scale at this time. Not the sodium hydroxide loop stuff. Through the slaked lime loop. That's what we're going to be doing, is the slaked lime loop. Beautiful, glorious slaked lime. Where are those vanilla chem plants? Where did I set up the vanilla chem plants? They are somewhere. Vanilla chem plants, where are you in this mess? Oh, there it is. I saw it. There. I have 100. Fill that chest. Fill the whole thing. Fill the whole thing. Hey, Dolly. I see that. I see that face. I see that face. Come on. Come here. Come here, Dolly. Ooh, tech. Hello. Hello, beautiful tech. Give me... I don't really care about anything else. So, work on the stupid 900 for the next 5 slots. Dolly, no, don't go back there. Come here. Come say hello. Ah, boy. Alright, that's primers done. Sodium hydroxide through the slaked lime loop. Time to make... Seriously? Why does it always... You... Okay. This process, let's say I want 15 sodium hydroxide, some very low value. It is 1-to-1 on salt. And then also the lime expenditure is going to be 11.25 coke per second as well. Oh, and we do get some CO2 out of this that we have to deal with somehow. So there you go. That is, in a nutshell, the slaked iron loop. All it requires is a bit of water and coke and salt. Coke and salt. How are we going to get that coke and salt? Well, ultimately, it's going to come out of tar, because this is PyBlock, and we need to make things out of tar. Now, in this case, it'll be far, far easier to make saline water out of doing some ore-based quenching tower recipe. And then the coke is also going to come out of tar in the form of this particular heavy oil recipe out of tar. So we can see here that in total, this is actually less than 200. Less than 250 is key, so that means that I only need one of my stone-based tar setups for this thing to do this, which is grand. And it also means that since it is pretty high out of that 250, I would be pretty comfortable with this being as is. Yeah. With this being a repeatable, copy-pastable blueprint. Just have this and then paste down whatever this build is as many times as I want. So that'll be what I need here. So I need to make sure that I grab some evaporators and I grab more chem plants. I should have the rest of the stuff that I need in here for that. So grab a few additional chem plants as well as some evaporators. Where are my evaporators? That's always going to be the question of the day. I guess what I can do is just request evaporators. Just be like, hey, bring me evaporators. Now, I don't need that extra stuff in my inventory right now, so here we go. Bring me stuffs. Bring me stuff, my minions. My glorious minions. I will note, currently, I am using 1.2 gigawatts of power. 1.2 gigawatts. Briefly 1.3 as we continue to grow. I have about 2 of available power. Actual available power. Ignore this 4.3. That's maximum theoretical. That's not possible right now. It doesn't actually base it off of the true available power. So yeah, about 2. If my construction bots were all operating all at once, this will spike to about 1.8, I would imagine, or 1.9. So pretty close to the max amount of power that I can actually currently draw. So if I were to, say, attempt to place the tile all the way down the line here that it need to be placed down, yeah, chances are I'm putting myself at risk. I'll word it that way. I'm putting myself at risk of not having enough power. I will do that, though, to finish off that little bit of blueprinting there. That needs to get done. I also need to, like, finish this with the stuffs. Oh, hi. Really now? You do the same thing there. Excuse me, but what? There you go. Alright. I should have that stuff delivered to me by now. Where did I park? All the way down there. Now, of course, they're still working on all this down here. All this wonderful new mole stuff. My update to the mall to supply all of the buildings I so desperately desire. We're heading down here now. Yay! We can have a nice little dedicated on-demand blueprint for sodium hydroxide. Isn't that glorious? That's actually pretty glorious. We're about 8 minutes away from the regularly scheduled break. I will add. So during this whole setup, we'll need to just take a stop to do some wonderful ad break stuff. Welcome to the sodium hydroxide build. We have arrived. So this build is going to start with one of my most favorite things ever, and I'm realizing that I do not have anywhere near enough deep water wells. Rather unfortunate when that happens. I also need to actually update this blueprint. Now that I'm thinking about it, I need to update my blueprint. So I'm going to do that. I have this nice little upgrade planner here that changes all pipes and doohickeys, power poles, and I need to do that to this. Ta-da! So that will be the updated blueprint. Yay, it's updated. Also, I have all of the updates to the nanobots, all the techs for the nanobots, so they should be zooming fast now on these nanobots. I don't actually have to worry about this not being placed right here because it's in the construction zone, which means that my robots will come and place that for me. I'll also be delivered what I'm missing right now. Everything that I just used is currently on its way, as long as I stay within the logistic network. Now, I do think I saw that I needed 3 heavy oil refineries. I'm actually going to do that? No. No, I need a gap for that. Excuse me. Take all of the things. There we go. Grab that. It always hurts me a little knowing that I'm just straight up voiding heavy oil when it's a pretty decent fuel to begin with, but eh. When it's 3-to-1 on the ratio, that's bad. It's bad. In order to get into heavy oil, there are different ways. There are different ways from tar to get into heavy oil. I would hope. So there is a low distillates heavy oil recipe right here. That, I think, is going to be the way ultimately. Now, if you look at low distillates out of tar, you can see it's 650 tar into 100 low distillates, so which would be 200. That's actually a worse ratio. I take that back. I take it back. But you do get other distillates to work with, so worth. You get residual oil as well back, which is the another thing that you could do stuff with. eh. Just eh. I don't know. I have to look and see and find out what I'm actually wanting slash needing to do, because actual heavy oil as heavy oil is needed for advanced ore processing, as well as apparently the tin rare earth alloy. Um, there is a kerosene. That's not the kerosene I tend to use. That's not the gasoline I tend to use. It's not the naphtha I tend to use. That's not the, like, definitely not how I'm going to get natural gas if I need natural gas, and definitely not a syngas method I would be using. So, really, do I need heavy oil for anything in particular? Like, nah. Not really. No. Not outside of this stuff. And I guess I would have to accept the 3-to-1 ratio at that point. But anyway, so that's a bit of coke. That's a bit of coke. Having 3 of these heavy oil refineries going is exactly a yellow belt out. We don't need the full yellow belt of that on the output. We do, however, need to have one of these, at least one of these. So this is going to void some stuff for me. I'm going to have the output going all this away. That's going to be that out, and that is now able to operate fully 100% of the time. And that is the first stages of this build done. That is the coke production sorted. What's next is to get the quenching towers sorted. They are also going to be voided. Oh, hello. Get that provided there. They are also going to get all of that ore voided. I have setups already I can just copy paste from somewhere. Somewhere way over here. I have that type of a thing that I can just paste down, and that is my alarm indicating that it is time to take a break, folks. So if you are watching the VODs on YouTube, thank you all for watching, do all the social stuff, etc. For those watching live, I will be back in a few minutes. I will see you all shortly.